first question we
Aldığınız
usually
soru
receive is about
aslında
cost.
genelde
How much do
maliyeti
seismic
konuşuyor.
isolators cost? Does constructing a building with seismic isolation make it significantly more expensive? Unfortunately, there are many misconceptions about this subject. Even some professionals working in the industry either misunderstand the issue or, for various reasons, present it incorrectly. As a result, people hear claims that seismic isolators double or triple the cost of a building, that their application is almost impossible, or that they are an extremely expensive technology. None of these claims is realistic. I would therefore like to explain the costs, including both the advantages and the disadvantages, using actual figures. We now have a substantial inventory accumulated over the past 4 years, together with detailed cost data from these projects. Let us go through the costs step by step. First, there is the cost of the seismic isolators themselves. As you can see here, seismic isolators are manufactured devices. They have a production cost, a testing cost, a transportation and installation cost, and other associated expenses. Naturally, all of these create an additional cost. But installing seismic isolators does not mean that the work ends with the isolators themselves. In a seismically isolated building, a clear space must be left around the structure so that the building can move during an earthquake. Architectural details are therefore required to cover and protect this space. These details are similar to expansion joints. We call them seismic gap covers, or seismic joints. They also create an additional cost. The third cost category relates to the mechanical and electrical systems. When constructing a seismically isolated building, certain precautions must be taken in the mechanical and electrical details. The objective is to keep the building operational after the earthquake. This means that pipes, cables, and other building services must not break while the structure is moving. At the seismic isolation interface, the building may move approximately 50 or 60 centimeters in every horizontal direction. For this reason, flexible pipe connections must be used at that interface, either on the isolation level itself or where services enter and leave the building. These are standard products. They are readily available and easy to procure. However, they still represent an additional cost, and they must not be overlooked. The fourth category is construction quality. In a seismically isolated building, the objective is not merely to prevent collapse. We expect the building to remain undamaged and operational. Therefore, the overall quality of construction must be high. A seismic isolator is not a device that hides construction defects. Seismic isolation is not a technology that can compensate for poor workmanship. On the contrary, because we expect an isolated building to remain operational and undamaged, incomplete, incorrect, or low-quality construction can still create problems during an earthquake. Even relatively minor damage would mean that the intended performance had not been fully achieved. For this reason, the general construction quality must be maintained at a high level. These are the main additional costs directly associated with seismic isolation. There's also another issue. The design of the structural elements changes. A question we frequently hear is this: if seismic isolators reduce the forces transmitted to the building, should the cost of the superstructure not also decrease? Not necessarily. In a conventional building, the design forces are based on the acceptance that the building may sustain damage during a major earthquake. We design the structure for a certain force level, while accepting that some damage may occur afterwards. In a seismically isolated building, however, we design for the forces acting on the isolated structure while expecting the building to remain essentially undamaged after the earthquake. Because the two systems are based on different damage assumptions, the accelerations and forces used to design the superstructure are often relatively close to one another. As a result, the quantities of concrete, reinforcement, and structural steel above the isolation level are generally very similar to those of a conventional building. You should not begin a project with the assumption that installing seismic isolators will automatically allow you to make the superstructure significantly lighter. That may happen in certain projects, but it may not happen in others. It should not be treated as the starting assumption in a feasibility study. There is then a second critical structural issue: the elements below the isolators. We design the structure below the isolation level to remain completely elastic and undamaged. If damage occurs where the isolators are supported, we cannot expect the superstructure above them to remain undamaged either. At the same time, the part below the isolators is directly exposed to the earthquake forces. For this reason, the foundation, the columns below the isolators, and any walls in that area generally become larger, heavier, and more heavily reinforced than they would be in a conventional building. This increases the structural quantities below the isolation level. So what happens overall? Above the isolators, The material quantities are approximately similar to those of a conventional building, but at and below the isolation line, the structural elements become larger. Therefore, the total quantity of structural materials in a seismically isolated building will generally be higher than in a conventional building. This also needs to be accepted from the beginning. Today, we have a large amount of data from residential projects. These projects are located throughout Turkey and include buildings with very different architectural characteristics. Our database includes 2- and 3-story villas, as well as residential buildings of up to 15 stories. It includes structures constructed on very weak soils and on very strong soils. There are buildings with wide footprints, narrow footprints, and many different structural and architectural configurations. For all of these projects, we collected and compared the data for both alternatives. What happens if the building is constructed with seismic isolation, and what would happen if it were constructed without it? When all of these figures are brought together, the average total additional cost caused by seismic isolation is approximately $50 per square meter of construction area, based on current prices. For example, if you are constructing a building with a total area of 10,000 square meters, you can multiply that area by $50. This gives an approximate additional seismic isolation cost of $500,000. This is an average figure. Alternatively, consider an apartment with a gross floor area of 100 square meters. At $50 per square meter, the additional cost attributable to the seismic isolation system would be approximately $5,000 per apartment. This total figure includes the cost of the isolators themselves. It also includes the seismic joints and gap cover details, the flexible mechanical connections, and the additional measures required to improve construction quality. These may include better formwork systems, improved wall construction techniques, and other workmanship-related measures. The figure also includes the additional cost created by the increased quantities of structural materials that I described earlier. In other words, the $50 figure includes all of these items. Let us consider a large city as an example. In Istanbul today, excluding the land value, the construction cost of a medium to medium high-quality building, including the main structural and finishing works, is approximately $600 to $700 per square meter. The value of the land can vary enormously, so we are deliberately excluding it from this comparison. When an additional seismic isolation cost of approximately $50 per square meter is compared with a total construction cost of $600 to $700, the increase remains below 10%. In most cases, it is around 6 or 7% of the total construction cost. Therefore, claims that seismic isolation doubles or triples construction costs or creates an unaffordable expense are simply not true. If seismic isolation really tripled the cost of construction, investors would not be able to recover that expense when selling the apartments or the buildings. And if that were the case, the more than 40 seismically isolated residential projects currently under construction in Turkey, together with many more projects still in the design stage, would not be economically possible. That is the basic picture regarding cost. Of course, some people may still consider this additional cost high, while others may consider it reasonable. But objectively, when we look at actual figures and average values, this is approximately where the cost stands. There are also projects where the additional cost falls to $25 or $30 per square meter. In other projects, it can rise to $75 or $80 per square meter. However, in the majority of cases, the value remains close to an average of $50 per square meter. As I have said before, every project must be evaluated individually. Each building has its own structural conditions, architectural requirements, soil characteristics, and performance objectives. In that sense, every project has its own specific solution and its own individual prescription.